Hey guys, I have this video here from GhazzyTV that is called "Are we finally getting patches now? The current state of Path of Exile 2." And I think this refers to that they tweeted that they are back, but maybe he's going to talk about what future patches could come or could have, and I want to talk about that. So let's see what he has to say about it, dude.
Hey guys, GhazzyTV here with another Path of Exile 2 video, and in this one we're going to talk about the fact that they are back in the office!
They are back, thank God, brother.
Anyways, they are back in the office, and a couple of things to mention is that they have a few things to cover. Most notably has been a lot of accounts being hacked, and that's obviously terrible. However, according to New Zealand law, if there was a data breach from Grinding Gear Games side of things, they would have been legally forced to publicly announce this, which we have not seen. However, even if the breach is not on their end directly, it obviously and evidently could have been prevented with two-step verifications and whatnot. So better account security. Communities have been pretty much in an uproar state about this. Hopefully, they're going to be amending this. However, they will obviously, because of the grand scale and the widespread impact this situation has had, that they're going to have to make some sort of statement. So it's going to be very interesting to see when they do this. I'm also currently in conversations with Jonathan Rogers to set up yet another Tavern Talk podcast with my lovely co-host, Mr. Darth Microtransaction.
That will be awesome.
And we'll see when we're going to announce that. We're still in.
An interview right now with Jonathan would be awesome because now we have a month of experience with the game. We have more cool questions about the game and also to hear from them what they are thinking. Even without our questions, like, hey, Jonathan, what are you thinking now that you saw the game for 1 month and players have been playing for 1 month? Give us your thoughts. Just what are you thinking? Even that would be awesome. And if you have a long interview asking specific stuff, it would be insane, dude. I would want to watch that.
The discussion state of this, we were supposed to have one before Christmas, but since there was a lot of things happening, we decided to take a small break and not stress them too much and postpone it till January. So that's where we hopefully can expect to see a podcast with Jonathan Rogers, and maybe Mark will join us as well. And we have a lot of questions for them. However, I made a little list here to talk about the future of Path of Exile 2, and I want to tackle a couple of these things. Most of them will basically...
This is why I clicked on this video, because I knew this had to happen. Like, you can make an 11-minute video just saying that they are back in office, right? And he says the current state of Path of Exile 2 in the title, so we are going to talk about the state of Path of Exile. That is what I want to tackle.
Be me saying we don't know. But let's talk about it either way. So obviously we have one more ascendancy class for each of the classes that we have available right now. There are 6 classes in the game, and we are supposed to be giving one more ascendancy of all of these 6 classes. When we get this, don't know. We are also lacking 6 new classes, and those 6 new classes are supposed to have 3 new ascendancy classes each, and that also includes new skills as well as new weapons.
You don't imagine how excited I am. Well, I released a video talking about the ascendancies that I want to see coming back from PoE 1 just because of thematic and fantasy, because I didn't play PoE 1 to actually know how they work, but just in fantasy there are some ascendancies that look cool that I would want to see converted, not copied, but converted to Path of Exile 2. And brother, I want to see so many stuff in here. I want to see the Druid and the Huntress. You guys know that in WoW, I play a Survival Hunter, which is a Hunter with a Spear. And they are introducing the Huntress with a Spear in PoE 2. That, of course, is going to be one of my top classes. And they are introducing the Druid. And in D4, I play the Druid because of the shape-shifting. So, of course, I am also excited about the Druid. And I think they said that the 2 next classes are going to be the Druid and the Huntress, which is going to be really, really good. And the other classes that I am excited for, brother, I want to see the Duelist, I want to see the Templar, I want to see the Shadow, but because of the Saboteur, like the explosions stuff, there is a lot of stuff that I want to see in there, brother. It is really cool. But you have to remember that the classes only determine the ascendancies, but not the actual skills. The skills are the weapons, right? Like, the skills are related to the spear itself, not to the Huntress. For the Templar, it is the flail. But we also know that the skills are tied to the weapon, but the weapons are going to be introduced with the class that represents them, in quotes, like The Huntress represents the spears, so the spears with the skills are going to be introduced with the Huntress. And all of that, like the swords with the duelist, the axes with the marauder, the daggers with the shadow, and blah, 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 blah. But yes, I am really excited about all of that. So if I am addicted to the game now that we have like 30% of what the game is actually going to have, I don't know what is going to happen when this game is full and ready, because it is going to ruin my life, dude. Because I am going to get more addicted.
Weapon types and all spirit gems and support gems that are lacking as well, for that matter, which we yet again don't know when that's gonna happen. Then we have this part, which is kind of why I want to make this video. So the bigger balance passes, we just talked about this on stream here. This is being recorded during a live stream. So hi Twitch chat, hi YouTube chat. Say hi to the YouTube boys that are watching this later. What's gonna happen is that in PoE 1, they always talk about the vision of the game. They have an idea of a painting that they want to have, and then they put Bob Ross to action, basically. And they start with the bigger balance changes and introductions and the balances and buffs and nerfs to the game by simply referring them to brush strokes, if you will, on this little canvas. And for each big change that they do, it gets us an idea of what the actual finished product will be. Now, this is not going to be one of those, talent competition you'll see on TV where they're painting something that looks like a fucking turd on the screen, but then, oh wow, they turned the painting around and upside down, and oh my god, it's not a turd, it's just a dog. That's not what's happening here. Instead, what we're going to see is all of these balance changes that we see are going to give us an idea of basically the goal that GGG has with the vision and the direction they want to take with the actual game.
Which, in my opinion, should be like take the game more in the direction of what we felt in the first 3 acts of the game before Cruel and before the end game. Take the game more in that direction. If that is the vision, brother, nice.
Because right now we are essentially playing on a very nice bedazzled frame. We have the frame of the game, and there's a lot of issues in the game. I mean, just minion-related stuff, body blocking, like a melee splash for them, minions dying when you outrun them. I mean, the list goes on. And then obviously you have the whole,
And this is something cool that is happening in PoE. Like, everybody's low in the game. Everybody's addicted to the game. But we also have been talking a lot about the issues with the game. But the frame, the base, the skeleton of the game is so good that nobody's worried. Everybody knows that everything will be fine because the game is awesome, and you just have to add stuff, tune stuff, maybe remove stuff, but everything will be fine because the game is awesome. So everybody knows that when you criticize the game, you are not doing it because you hate it, because you probably love it, but you are just, hey, let's improve this, let's improve that. You guys know that I am addicted to the game. I am playing this every waking moment that I can, but I also criticize some things like this should be better, blah blah blah, because we want the game to be the best it can be.
I talked about before in the in the name of Adam Jackson lead design for classes in Diablo 4, for example, we're going to use the hand gestures. This is where they want to have builds in terms of efficiency in this little scale from top to bottom, lower and down here, high and up here. And what they want to do is bring builds that are builds or skills that is below this, bring them up to this, and builds that are above them, bring them down. That's something we see in most game companies. GGG.
Please do that. There are builds here in PoE 2 that they shouldn't exist, dude. And they warp the vision of the game because they are so strong that they trivialize what the game should be. So nerfing the balance is also a part of this vision of the game. Not only the game mechanics and all of that, but balance is also a part. Because how you tune skills makes it so that you can't one-shot a boss and you have to actually do the mechanics, for example. And tuning the health and the hits of the boss also does that, and blah, blah, blah.
Does not do this. First up, they don't use hand gestures, they use actual numbers. So what then happens is that they are okay with having builds above this bar, this up here. And that's fine. And then what they do is they introduce meta shakeups, which is usually coming in the form of every league launch every 3rd or 4th month. They would then make some changes and bring those high-end performers down and leave room for other builds to become the outliers that are then performing significantly better than other builds. And that's kind of how they create this meta shakeup, which is also one of the many reasons that makes Path of Exile a game that you can play consistently for years upon years upon years. However, we are in early access. We're not looking at leagues. We're not looking at that at all. We don't really care about it for the most part. What we care about is finding a good, balanced ground foundation of the game, and also getting the lacking spirit gems, support gems, and active skill gems. But there's a lot of issues in the game with the current state. Some builds are vastly superior than others, and some minor issues in terms of performance of certain archetypes, mainly from my perspective. I've been playing a lot of minions lately, of course, so most of my complaints is about that. Then obviously we're lacking things there, like Spectre gems, for example. It's going to be very, very interesting. So when they do their first big balance pass is where we're going to be given the very first initial look at how is this painting going to look when they're done with their vision. And we're going to see the first couple of brush strokes soon, I hope, or sooner rather than later, I hope. And that's going to tell us where...
I would want, like, I don't think they are going to do something crazy soon. Soon what they are going to do is tune stuff, right? They are going to nerf stuff. They are going to probably tune systems, like probably, I don't know, the rarity stuff. They are going to buff life and buff armor and nerf energy shield, stuff like that in general, and nerf rarity, and also target the specific builds, of course, but nothing revolutionary like we are going to add Act 4. I believe they are going to do that in bigger patches. But what I would like for them to say is, hey, this patch that is going to bring crazy stuff is happening in February, in March, something like that. You have to remember that they said, and I never thought that that was going to happen, but let's say that it is true. They said that the full game is going to come 6 months to 1 year after the early access. We already have 1 month in. So you have 5 months to 11 months, right? That means that a big patch with new stuff should come no later than 2 months from now, right? I had to imagine, like with at least the campaign or with at least a couple new classes or ascendancies or something like that. So they should at least announce when this is happening, in my opinion. Maybe they just come out with it like by surprise, but I don't think they will do it by surprise, because announcing it creates hype.
They want to bring the game. Are they going to slaughter everything down to the point where it's super slow clear speed, or are they going to be okay with the type of clearing that builds like Monk's Ice Strike is having, or Spark, for example, or the Dummy Bomb Spark for builds like that, or the way we're handling.
But don't only slow me down, but also slow down the monsters, dude, because these monsters are cracked.
Bosses right now, or for example, what are the most insane bossing approach we do with minions? For those of you who don't have the issue that I have with crashing instances when we weapon swap, we can actually weapon swap our shield away for a trench timber, and then have a weapon swap set for a sigil or power staff. So pop the sigil, weapon swap back, that literally no defenses, but the boss will die in literally 2 seconds. I'm not sure if that is something that they are going to want to have be the playstyle in the game. So we'll see these things once we get the first bigger balance changes, which I hope we're going to see very soon. Moving on, to avoid yapping in this video too much. Obviously, like I mentioned before, lacking skill of some of the current classes and or support gems, and Spectre gems win, because I'm very biased to that. As you can see here, uncut spirit gems. On the first level, we're lacking 3 of them. On the second, we're lacking yet another 3. And on the last one, we're lacking yet another 3. And it's the same thing that comes down to skill gems. In the occult, we don't...
That is another thing. We are not only missing like other weapons that are coming later, or support gems or skills. In the weapons that we are already missing stuff. So that is another thing to notice. Let's see if I can open in here the menu. Like, well, the sorceress is looking complete, and the occult is also looking complete. But let's say the mace, you have coming soon, coming soon, coming soon, and coming soon. So you have 4 skills that are missing for the mace. Let's see the crossbow. 2 skills that are missing for the crossbow. The bow. 3 skills that are missing from the bow and the quarter staff. 2 skills that are missing. So even in the ones that you have, you are missing stuff.
Don't lack anything. Elemental, same thing. However, Maces has 4 skills that is not introduced to the game yet. And the same thing with crossbows has 2 skills, bow has 3, and quarterstaff has 2 that are not in the game yet. And obviously there's no spears, there's no daggers, there's no sword, there's no axe, there's no primal, there's no flail. So there's a lot of those. And then same thing with support gems, 3 lacking on the first one. Yes, 3 lacking on level 2, and another 3 lacking on number 3 that we still haven't seen yet. So that's also something that we don't know when or how or where they're going to introduce these. The other part of things that we don't know yet is the 3 campaign acts. And that's also going to likely introduce the 3rd ascendancy, because right now we have Trial of Sekima and the Ultimatum, Corruption, or Chaos area. They've said several times there's going to be 3 different ways to ascend your class or your character, and it's very likely that this will be introduced in the later act. 5 or 6 is what we're expecting.
I believe they said it was going to be in Act 4. They confirmed it was going to be in Act 4, right? And it is probably going to be the stuff in PoE 1 where you send people to, where it's like the command table in WoW, where you send people to fight, something like that. I don't know exactly how it works, but I have seen clips about it. That is what people are speculating it is going to be. But I am pretty sure they said it is going to be in Act 4.
And the other topic we have is MTX imports being things like stash tabs and microtransactions in general, which is an ongoing activity that they're trying to do. Obviously not high prioritized as the other things right now. But I wanted to say this after going through this little short list to avoid being nitpicking on specific things. What I will say is this: I believe that GGG are not going to give us, you know, this week you're going to get that class, that week you're going to get this class, or that week you get the Act 5 or whatever, right, or Act 4. I think that what they're going to be doing, which is the smart business move in terms of ROI for the marketing value, is instead to have one big balance pass or big content patch where they introduce a bunch of content in one go to attract new players in, as well as getting a lot of returning players that have already stopped playing for now, waiting for more content to bring those players in, instead of having, you know, small bits and pieces introduced along the way.
Yeah, like doing one big patch 2 months from now where they introduce 2 classes, an act, or the whole 3 acts, and they introduce 10 ascendancies, stuff like that. I believe they will go like that, and it is, in my opinion, it is cooler than going bit by bit. I would be very much more excited about one big patch, and then I get 1 month, 2 months, 3 months to explore it, maybe 2 months, and then I get another big patch, something like that. Like, I am still doing stuff in with this patch, right? With the early access verifies 1, I am still doing stuff in here. But I feel like in 1 month it would be awesome if they brought out new content, and then they take 2 months more and they bring more content. It would be awesome like that.
So what I expect them to see is some sort of bigger patch where they say, hey, we're going to give you the remaining acts, because it would be kind of weird if we get Act 4 and then we have to do what, Act 1 and 2 Cruel, and then a month later they're going to give us Act 5, and now we only do Cruel version of Act 1, and they also have to rebalance the monster levels to fit that, which would be kind of awkward. So I actually expect them to say, hey, we're going to give you the remaining campaign now, here's the 3 remaining acts, and just give us all of that in one go, because it will have a much grander or bigger scale impact in the gaming world. And that will obviously spark up interest and attractiveness to try the game out if you haven't already, and or returning players will be more interested in coming back. And in such an introduction or content introduction, I think that would be a smart decision to put, hey, we're going to do this, but you're also going to have access to, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 new classes. And we're going to give you these ascendancies and these skills, and just make this like a humongous big patch. And I think that that's what they are going to be doing.
That also hypes the community, and everybody's trying different things. So, oh, I want to try the duelists, I want to try the swords, I want to try the daggers, I'm going to make this work and all that work. Like when PoE launch, you recreate that feeling. It is awesome.
Because it would be the smart decision from my perspective. Now, if you don't agree with this, do leave a comment down below what you think of it. But I wanted to talk about it and mostly put an emphasis on this part here, because a lot of people are very hung up and talking about on balance things specifically to certain skills or minions, for example, or certain builds that are outperforming and want them to be balanced and brought down, and talk about balances that is very specific, where I think it's more important that we get those things sorted as well, obviously. But the important part here is to see the grand scale of things, where they're actually going to be painting, or how they're going to paint this frame, or the canvas in the frame, rather, and to see how the actual game is going to be in its finished product. Now, again, I don't want to yap too much, but that's my take on the current state of the game and what we're going to be expecting to see in the future from my perspective. Obviously, this is all speculation, but to avoid yapping too much, I'm going to ask you to hit the like button, subscribe for more content, and leave a comment down below what your take is. If you agree with me or disagree, I'll read through them later, and I'll see you guys in the next one. So till then.
That was a good video, a quick little recap of where we are and what is probably coming. I do agree that they are going to probably do stuff in big patches instead of little patches, and it is also my hope that that happens. But I also wonder if you are going to take that route and you don't announce when this is happening, and it is not happening soonish, but it is happening like in March or April when you are going to bring out a big patch. Then you have to balance and do stuff to the game now to keep it fresh and to keep people trying stuff, right? So they will probably also balance things like I said. I think they are going to balance defenses, the armor, the spirit shield, the rarity, and they are going to probably tune the game itself, the maps, the bosses, and all of that. Meanwhile, they bring a big patch, and my hope is also that when they bring a big patch, that patch also comes with a top of changes on top of the new content. Not only the new content, but also changes to the existing content. Or not necessarily changes, but improvements, right? So yes, guys, let me know in the comments below what you think about all of this. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I a clown? Am I a genius? I love reading comments even when they don't agree with me. Also, remember to like the video, to subscribe to the channel, all that cool stuff, my dude. Guys, thanks for being here. You guys are awesome. God bless you. And remember, don't be afraid ever, because this is just a ride.